Welcome to the Vibrant Life Radio Show with Dr. Brian Ullman.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of Vibrant Life Radio Show. I'm your host, Dr. Brian Ullman, with my beautiful co-host, Julene. How are you doing today?
Fantastic. Glad to be here with you, Cal, too, and you, Brian.
We have a very honored to have quite a celebrity with us today, Cal Ulrich, also a.k.a. Quick Cal. I've known the Ulriches and family for many, many years, but learned recently that he is the Mark Spitz of Cowboy Fast Draw. And what I mean by that is he is known worldwide in Western shooting sports. He's an 18-time World Fast Draw. I'm going to brag about you a little bit.
I'll go right ahead.
Okay.
So.
18-time World Champion, Fast Draw Champion. He's a member of the United States Practical Shooting Team, gold medalist in international competition in not just one, but 3 shooting sports. He is National Cowboy Action Shooting Champion. He holds over 15, continues. Now, these records, 15 records have not been broken.
Those are 15 current world records in Fast Draw, yes.
Wow. And in 2011, he was inducted into the Single Action Shooting Society Hall of Fame. Absolutely wonderful to have you with us, sir.
Well, it's wonderful to be here, Brian. It's just great to be on your show.
I want to really talk a lot about what you, because I've known your family a long time, and I didn't realize how fascinating this sport was. I mean, this sport is really taking hold. You've got, tell us about your experience with Fast Draw. How'd you get started?
Well, I started shooting when I was a child. My dad, he taught me how to target shoot when I was 7 years old. And, it was no competition then. It was just learning how to handle the gun safely and shooting accurately. And then in 1968, my dad got involved in the sport of Fast Draw. He would go down to Tombstone, Arizona, spend winters, his vacations there, and he happened to cross the national championship in Tombstone, and he got to talking to a fella, and because he thought nothing was like that in our hometown near Chicago, and ends up there was a club in Chicago. My dad got involved in it. He got, and then I joined it. I really took a liking to it at age 15. And so it was that was my first shooting sport, and I became the world Fast Draw champion for the very first time when I was 19 years old.
Wow.
In 1972.
Wow, that is amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Tell us because everybody doesn't know, what is Fast Draw? Where'd that come from?
Well, Fast Draw was really big in the 1950s when it was born, when every time you turned on the television, there was a Western, from Gunsmoke to Bonanza. That's what was on television. And it created such an excitement in people's minds, that they wanted to learn how to draw that 6-gun out of a holster.
Yeah.
In fact, Colt Firearms Company started reproducing the Colt single action because of the sport of Fast Draw. It got so popular in the 50s. There was over 100,000 people doing Fast Draw during those years. There was a Fast Draw club in every town. Wow. It was amazing. And but the term Fast Draw was actually a Hollywood term that was made in the movies. And the very first motion picture ever made was called The Great Train Robbery. It was a Western, but they were actually recording current history. This was made in 1903, and, the Wild Bunch, the gang, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid,
yeah,
they were actually recording an event that happened just 18 months prior, a train robbery. See, so did Hollywood invent the movie, the Western movie, or did the Western movie invent Hollywood?
Probably a little of both.
Well, it was, because when they started making the motion pictures, they thought, boy, Westerns, that's really a neat subject. And what happened is they found all of these dime novel stories. These guys would follow Wild Bill Hickok around and Wyatt Earp around and stuff and write all these dime novelists. Those were ready-made movie scripts ready to go. So that's how the Western became such a big part of the Hollywood movies. And when TV first really got rolling in the 50s, what did they do? Westerns.
Yeah, Branded, Bonanza, all those.
Oh, yeah.
All your favorite
series.
ones. Gunsmoke.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Well, then, with that much competition, it's quite remarkable that you have had such success in the sport.
Well, by the time I got in the sport in 1968, it had actually boiled down significantly to probably just a few thousand active competitors in the country. But there were pockets of Fast Draw. It was very big in California, Texas, all over the country. It was still big, mainly out in the West and Midwest. But there was a shooting association in every state, and they never really could get together on all the rules. And they'd run it this way here or that way there, but they would get together every year and have a world championship. And I was honored to win that in '72 in Texas.
That's fantastic. And you've been involved with trying to make some rules for the sport, trying to take competitions and standardize them, haven't you?
Well, I've always believed in giving back to whatever you do. And I've actually formed a lot of different clubs in all kinds of sports, whether it's cowboy action shooting, IPSC shooting, which is practical pistol shooting, and old Fast Draw, the older Fast Draw organization, which was the World Fast Draw Association. And so I've always believed in giving back to the shooting sports. I actually wrote the original range officer course, which is still being shot for SAS, which is the Single Action Shooting Society, which really is a huge sport these days. It's 100,000 people in that.
Wow.
And so I've been very involved in writing rules for the game because I want it to be done right. And I've always wanted shooting sports to be bigger than they actually are.
Now you have a range. You're in Fernley, and you have a range in Fernley that people can come to and get introduced to the sport. Tell us about how, if one of our listeners is out there thinking, that sounds like a lot of fun, how would they get involved? What's the first step?
Well, there's two ways. Now, the range I have in Fernley, the outdoor range, is at the Fernley Raceway. And they've just reopened it. It's under new management out there. And there's 2 cowboy action shooting clubs that shoot there on the first and second Sunday of the month. So you can wander out there and get involved in cowboy action shooting. Now, they use rifles, pistols, and shotguns and live ammunition. Now, the difference for cowboy fast draw, and that's what makes it so appealing throughout the country and why we're growing so fast, is we use wax bullet ammunition powered with just a shotgun primer. And believe it or not, it actually moves that 18-grain bullet at 650 feet a second, just as fast as a 45 live ammo round moves. So it's really, we have an indoor range right at our home in Fernley, in our barn. We call it the Bat Barn because it was infested with bats when we bought it. And
shot 'em all.
But we have 6 lanes in there, and we have a great club there. But for you folks in Reno, we have the Reno Peacemakers. They shoot up here at Sage Gun Club, the trap club up there. They shoot every Thursday night. In fact, they're shooting tonight. And then there's a club in Genoa. So right here in northern Nevada, we have 3 very active cowboy fast draw clubs, and they coordinate their schedule so you can shoot amongst all 3 clubs. And we have one right over the hill there in Auburn and several clubs in Northern California. So there's all kinds of activity in this area.
That's fantastic. For those interested in getting a hold of you, well, how would someone get a hold of you? Because you're the expert. You'd be somebody that, maybe somebody would want to start with. What kind of gun do we buy? What kind of holster? That type of thing. How do we get a hold of you?
Well, actually, we run the sport nationwide right in Fernley, Nevada. We have 80 clubs, coast to coast. We have 4 clubs in Australia. We have them in Europe. We even have a club in Lebanon. Wow. This guy has got a dude ranch right outside of Beirut. Can you believe that? But he's got a cowboy fast draw club there. But we run the entire organization, my wife and I do, from Fernley, Nevada. And so, yes, get a hold of us at cowboyfastdraw.com. And our phone number out there is 775-575-1802. And you can find out all the information you need to know about how to get involved with Cowboy Fast Draw.
Talk for a minute a little bit about the Gunslingers Gazette. I think that is an amazing publication. The last issue I have, it's it's battle worn because it's so interesting. Tell us how people can get a hold of that.
Well, you just be a member of the Cowboy Fast Draw Association. When you join the Cowboy Fast Draw Association, it's $59.50 for your first year and $49.50 thereafter. Family members are all $20 off of those prices. And you get a copy of the Gunslinger Gazette. It comes out 5 issues a year. You get a numbered badge. You get to pick an alias. See, we all use aliases in our sport. That's one of the fun deals. I'm Quick Cal. My wife is a lot of lead. Our son, his alias is Dead-Eye Kid because he actually only had one eye. He had an accident when he was a child. He got one implanted, so he can see out of both eyes now. Yeah. But he is known as the Dead-Eye Kid. And then our daughter, Erica, she is known as Hannah Calder.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and she writes it in the Gazette as Hannah
She is
Calder.
the editor of the Gazette.
Yes.
It's a family operation.
You guys are the most charming family in the world, too. We've known you for years, and your wife is an absolute dynamo, hence the name Dinah, I suppose. and just as a question, in the growth of this association, when did women start getting involved in that?
Oh, very early on. You know, when we actually took over the reins of the Cowboy Fast Draw Association in 2006, you see, it was formed in 2002 in Deadwood, South Dakota. And it kind of grew to a few hundred members, and we took it over. We took a shooting magazine on as a partner, and we took the organization over and tried to put it in the right direction. We now have 3,300 members, and it's growing like a weed.
That is fantastic. And women started way back at the beginning.
30% of our shooters are women.
But real quick before we head
Yes.
out on this first break, what records does your wife hold and your daughter?
Well, a lot of lead, my wife. She actually has won 3 out of the last 4 world championships.
Yay, Dinah.
She's the only woman to win 3 national championships. And she has really been a dominant competitor in the women's division in Cowboy Fast Draw.
And boy, with that kind of skill at home, I imagine that keeps you right in line. You don't forget the anniversaries and the birthdays.
Right, and I don't walk in the middle of the night with my boots in my hand either.
I got a story about that, too. Hey, when we come back from break, Cal's had extensive work on television. He's worked with movies, and recently he worked with Trace Atkins, who's interested in this. So when we come back from break, I want you to talk about how the sport's growing in those areas.
You betcha.
All right. Vibrant Live Radio Show. Back in 2.
Consign Furniture has grown to be the largest consignment store in northern Nevada, with over 23,000 square feet of showroom to choose from.
Living rooms, dining rooms, bedrooms, and so much more. They offer all types of household items at 70% off retail prices.
Consign Furniture has new inventory arriving daily. Come in and find that special piece you're looking for, or furniture for your whole house.
Consign Furniture offers pickup and delivery service to make it easy and convenient to spruce up your home or even get rid of things you're not using.
Do you have items in storage costing you money each month?
Don't worry, Consign Furniture can help. Nervous about having strangers come to your house?
Don't worry, Consign Furniture can help.
Located at 2335 Market Street in Reno. Stop by today or call them at 775-824-0222 and let them help take the guesswork out of selling your furniture or household items.
Easy way to sell, smart way to buy. 775-824-0222.
Thanks for inviting me to lunch. Say, how's your business doing?
Much better now. I got a new CPA named Larry Bigler. He's really helped me turn things around.
Yeah, but does he take you out to golf once a year like my CPA?
No, when Larry and I meet, we focus on building my business. His staff is even handling our bookkeeping and payroll for us.
Really? My CPA and I never talk business. It's too depressing.
Well, you ought to give Larry Bigler a call.
Hello, I'm Certified Public Accountant Larry Bigler. Call me old-fashioned, but I believe my clients deserve excellent strategy and good service, always provided at a good value. My CPA, tax, payroll, and bookkeeping firm has helped hundreds of businesses and individuals in northern Nevada, and I know we can help you as well. Call me today for a free consultation at 323-8131. That's 323-8131. Or visit my website at larrybigler.com.
At Bloom Bake Shop in Reno, our goal is to help you celebrate all of your special occasions. Whether you're running short on time or you just don't have the skills or desire to bake fresh, homemade desserts for your friends and family, I'm here to help. This is Chandra with Bloom Bake Shop and Floral, and I've been baking ever since I could reach the kitchen counter. I bake everything from cookies and birthday cakes for your celebrations to wedding cakes and flowers for the most special day of your life. I was raised here in Reno, and my reputation depends on providing the best desserts you've ever tasted. If you'd like to set up a tasting for your upcoming wedding cake, or if you'd just like to satisfy your sweet tooth, let me help you celebrate your next special occasion. You can give me a call at 775-287-8905, or you can see Bloom Bake Shop on the web at www.bloomreno.com. Let Bloom Bake Shop make your day a little sweeter.
Welcome back, everybody, to Vibrant Life Radio Show, brought to you by the TMJ Therapy and Sleep Center Nevada and Vibrant Life, or Vibrant Family Smiles. Again, if you just joined us, I'm sitting across the table here with Cal Ulrich, who is also known as Quick Cal, who is really probably one of the most decorated shooters in the country. He has 18 Fast Draw Champion awards. He has 15 world shooting speed records that have never been beat. You probably hold those for years and years. And I wanted to get into some of your work on television and in movies. I know you worked on the movie Hell to Pay. You've been on the Discovery Channel, Outdoor Channel, ABC World News Tonight. You've been on the History Channel a number of times. And most recently, tell us about your working with Trace Atkins on his upcoming movie.
Well, I got this phone call, and they wanted me to come and join him on his tour bus for a couple of days and get him prepared for a movie role. He has got the starring role in The Virginian, and they're shooting it right now up in British Columbia. And it was a kind of a quick deal. They flew me into Wichita, and they threw me in a limo, and an hour and a half later, I was meeting him in Oklahoma, where he was appearing at two of the Indian casinos there in Oklahoma. And what was kind of funny is I got there on a Friday right afternoon, and we worked all afternoon on it, and he wanted me to teach him some spinning and twirling because he needed to know that for his role. We had a copy of his script, and I was just showing him some specific moves that he needed to get down. So he asked me, he said, well, Cal, show me what that's supposed to look like, full deal, because I was teaching him some really beginning stuff. And so I did about a 20 or 30-second deal, and I'll be darned if he didn't have me appear in both of his shows on stage with them and I did gun handling. It was really a treat.
That is great.
And so is fast draw shooting, competitive fast draw shooting, is that what we see on television? Is that what we see really? Or is there a difference between competitive shooting and the show?
Well, there's all kinds of differences. One is, now, if you want to see competitive cowboy fast draw shooting, the only place you can really see that on national television right now is on the Outdoor Channel. Shooting USA has a show they did at our World Championship, and they're coming back again this year, which, by the way, is held in Fallon, Nevada. The first weekend in October, we rent the entire Churchill County Fairgrounds. And we have our World Championship. We have hundreds of competitors come from across the country. Some come from Australia, and we have members in Japan that want to come over. But we have the entire World Championship in a rodeo arena.
That is so much fun.
See, that's the beauty about our sport is because we shoot wax bullets, we can hold our major championship anywhere USA, and in a few other countries too. But we have archery netting stops wax bullets. Even though they're moving as fast as live ammunition, archery netting stops them dead in their tracks.
Interesting.
And or plywood with some extra barriers. We do use some ballistic nylon, which is nothing more than just what they coat. They call it ballistic nylon, but they make luggage out of it. It's not all that thick stuff like you might think. And so it's very simple to have a range right in your own garage. You can practice cowboy fast draw. People do it across the country, and so when somebody gets involved, gun doesn't cost a whole lot of money. A great single action is under $600. A Ruger or a Colt replica, and a good holster is under $300. Once you have those things, it only costs 6 cents a shot to shoot.
Gosh, that's way cheaper than regular.
Wow, when we're out shooting our 9mm or AR-15, we're spending a lot more per round on that.
Oh, you certainly are. So it's a very affordable sport. Mm-hmm. And so that's one of the charms of it. And almost all the top guns have their own shooting range right in a barn or their garage or whatever, and to stay sharp. And you don't have to go out to a shooting range and spend hours. So we get very proficient at what we do. Now, you're trying to tie that to the Old West and how they really were. We shoot more rounds in just a couple of practice sessions than those guys probably shot in their entire lives.
No kidding.
Well, how would people in the Old West have put that much lead on their horse and travel around? I mean,
exactly.
And so the shooters of today in cowboy fast draw, it's as good as it can be done. And I got to tell you, Dinah and I we've won our share of major championships, and we're real proud of that. But we spend our time these days really trying to make the love of our heart is just to make cowboy fast draw into a major sport, not just shooting sport, but just a major sport. And I'll get into that in a few minutes why. But we have actually our two fastest shooters that are in the sport today live right here in northern Nevada. One of them is on the gentleman's side. It's a retired police officer. I won't say his real name on the area, but his alias is Kodiak. Okay, and a retired Reno police officer. And he set the world record for cowboy fast draw. Now, we shoot at 21 feet, and you have to hit a target. It's just not making the gun go bang. You got to be accurate and hit a target. And he holds the world record at 31.5 hundredths of a second. So we're talking under a third of a second.
Wow.
Now, this is to react to a light. This is reactions included. To react to a light, draw, fire. It takes 0.03 of a second just for that bullet to fly 21 feet. And if it hits the target, there's an impact on the back of it, a sensor on the back that gives us our time right to the thousandths of a second on the timer. And then our fastest lady in the world, she goes by Stormy Weather. She's from Fernley, Nevada, and she's a holster maker. Her dad is Bob Mernicle, one of the top holster manufacturers in the entire world. Wow. And so and she shoots. She's the first woman to ever record a time less than 40/100 of a second. She shoots constantly at what we call the threes. She'll stand there, shoot 38s, 37s, 36s. She's as fast.
Accurately, right?
What's that?
With accuracy.
Well, yes, you must hit the target or it doesn't count.
That's
now, how big is that target?
I'd love to watch that.
Yeah, this sounds like something I like to get into. But how big is the target? Because when you look at those gunslingers on television, they're shooting the wings off a fly at 32 feet in the wind and all this other stuff. I mean, how big is this target?
Well, the target is 24 inches round.
So a couple feet.
It's 2 feet round at 21 feet, and it's 7 yards. And we put white lithium grease on it, so you can see everywhere where every bullet strikes that target, you're going to see it.
Oh, I see.
And so, and we do that for judging purposes. Plus it makes the sport more fun to watch. We also have audience displays now, so even our audience up in the grandstands at the Rodeo Arena in Fallon, they can see every time fired in that match right to the thousandths of a second. And we do it elimination style. So you draw your opponent. It's all done by computer, and you get up there with your opponent, and you have to judge how fast is that person going to be, how fast do I really need to shoot. Some shooters just go full blast all the time. Other shooters they'll shoot as fast as they think to win that opponent. But the way it works is you get on the line with your opponent. We're all about gun safety 100% all the time. We never point a firearm at each other, ever. You get kicked out of the match for ever even thinking of doing that. So you get on the firing line with your opponent, and you shake hands, and you stand side by side, and the announcer gives you the command, shooter on a line, shooter set. That light will come on, or those paralights will come on, they're right in the center of the target, will come on 2 to 5 seconds after that word set. And both of those shooters react to the light and draw, and whoever hits that target first, their light comes back on blinking. It goes out when it's hit, then it comes back on blinking, indicating the winner, but it shows both timers of both competitors that have been fired on the timing equipment.
Yeah, Cal, this sounds like a lot of fun. What if I got the right gun and we got the right holster, and we can get wax bullets from you, for example? What's the learning curve? How long would it take me to actually be able to stand up there and maybe have some fun with you guys?
Not long at all. We can get a new shooter shooting under a second. Usually the same day they start shooting under a second.
Really?
Oh yeah. And then we then before
Not
long.
like golf.
What's that?
Not like golf. Okay.
Well,
it's a lot easier than golf. But.
No, it's not.
Oh,
This is the hardest gun sport of anyone I've ever played because that target may seem big. I'm telling you, that is a hard target to hit on the draw. This is at least as frustrating as golf. You'll have the fastest shooters in the world get on the line with a brand new shooter, and that brand new shooter is hitting the target, and the fast shooter is not at that moment, that round. And because if your gun is off just 1/8 of an inch, you're going to miss that target at 21 feet.
Yeah.
And to do that all in that amount of time, it's still about hitting that target. So this sport is a real round wheel. It's not always the fast person that wins. It's the person that hits that target. And you get into the finals of the match, the speed helps there.
Hey, Cal, you're a gun expert, and you said that using wax bullets, very, very safe, with shotgun primers. Is this a loud noise? Is this something I can do in my garage within, say, Washoe County limits? Or, because discharging of a firearm is frowned upon, or at least in my neighborhood. And is this something that everybody could do in their garage, or would they be best to come out to your range in Fernley?
Well, here's the basis of no discharge of firearms in the city limits. And I know that I'm not going to pretend to be a legal expert here. I'm sure there will be arguments to this, but the whole reason not to discharge a firearm in the city limits so you don't have projectiles flying all over the place, and you don't have the peace being disturbed with the sound of gunfire. That's disruptive to people. And so, but if you're shooting wax bullets in your garage with a shotgun primer, we even have a version with pistol primers that could barely be heard outside of your garage.
Really?
It's really not going to be disturbing the peace. And there's certainly no chance of a projectile getting loose. So that would be a pretty tough charge for the law enforcement to come up with you and nail you for discharging a firearm in the city limit. I think a district attorney wouldn't. I don't know how they would ever win that case in court because the intent of the law has not been broken.
So this is something that most of us could do in our garage.
Oh yeah, most people do that are in the sport.
Yeah, at 6 cents a shot. That's very reasonable.
Oh yeah, it's a very inexpensive sport. Except then you have so much fun going to the big matches. You travel around.
Yeah.
You'll spend more time traveling around in the matches than actual shooting.
Oh man, yeah, you were telling me that this sport really transcends all ages. You were telling me that this year's champion is a fellow that's 69 years old. Last year was a gal that was 14. And talk a little bit about the longevity of the sport in terms of our shooters.
Well, this is an ageless sport.
Cal, I just got waved. I screwed up.
Okay.
Look, can you stay past the break for a few more minutes?
Absolutely.
Come on back because I want Cal Ahlrich, our gun expert, our fast draw expert, to talk a little bit about age in the sport. So join us in 3 Vibrant Life radio show.
Hey, honey, what a great idea to get the Cancer Plus policy from Gary Paget Insurance. You know, it not only covers cancer, but 27 other dreaded diseases.
You know, sweetheart, I'll tell you what, it's amazing. And what a great price.
What's more amazing is that the policy is guaranteed, it's renewable for life, and the benefits are paid regardless of other insurance that we have.
You know, plus the payments are paid directly to us. Benefits don't change when you and I turn 65, and we don't have to be hospitalized to receive these benefits.
Well, we need to give all of our friends and family Gary Paget's number.
Gary Paget Insurance offers the best available term life insurance rates and a cancer insurance policy that also covers 27 additional diseases. Visit GaryPagetInsurance.com. That's GaryPaget insurance.com. Or give them a call at 760-223-1952. That number again is 760-223-1952.
If you or someone you love suffers from the devastating effects of a TMJ disorder or obstructive sleep apnea, we have good news. There's hope. Going from doctor to doctor looking for relief but not getting answers only adds to the pain. At the TMJ Therapy and Sleep Center, we would like you to get to know us, what we do, and how we can help you move beyond jaw pain, headaches, sleep disorders, and medication so that you can enjoy a more vibrant life. Dr. Ullman is not only a general dentist, but one of the foremost experts in the country in the field of TMJ disorders and obstructive sleep apnea. Utilizing the most state-of-the-art technology, we have the tools to accurately diagnose the cause of your condition. The TMJ Therapy and Sleep Center listens to you and gives you real answers to your most important questions. What really matters is that you get the help you need. Call us at 825-7200 or visit us at our website, tmjreno.com. That's tmjreno.com, because you deserve a more healthy, vibrant life.
Debbie, I just walked by Proper Fit right here in Reno Town Mall.
Yes.
Are you familiar with the Dansko shoe line?
Why, yes, I am, Eddie.
Well, let me tell you what. The Dansko shoe line, for the very first time now, has tennis shoes for women.
Ooh, wow.
You were not going to believe this. Now, let me tell you what. They are slip resistant. They come in every beautiful, bright color you can imagine, and a combination of colors. They're lightweight. They come in all sizes. And for those women who would prefer to have a clog, they even have colored clogs over there, because for the first time now, Dansko has tennis shoes for ladies.
I am really happy to hear that.
Okay, now remember, listeners, I want you to get a hold of Michael over at Proper Fit. Give him a call, 775-323-3757. His number again, 775-323-3757. Tell Michael you want to see those Dansko tennis shoes for ladies right here at Proper Fit in Reno Town Mall.
Welcome back to Vibrant Life Radio Show. And I'm sitting here again with Cal Ahlrich, who is a 18-time world fast draw champion. This guy is a shooting expert. He is probably the most decorated fast draw shooter in the history of the sport. Would you say, Cal?
Well, you know, I've never been one to say I'm the fastest guy, because on any given day, there's been a lot of great shooters. And on any given day, somebody can be a little faster than someone else. But I kind of bill myself as the winningest fast draw shooter of all time.
And that counts for a lot. Hey, earlier before the break, I wanted to get into the fact that you were telling me that this sport really transcends all ages. And you've had 14-year-old champions, 69-year-old champions. I mean, what makes this sport transcend the decades, from 10 years to 80 years?
Well, as a matter of physiology, your You never lose conditioned reflexes or when you with age. You may lose reactions, like if you're driving in a car and a kid jumps out and you got to make an evasive maneuver that requires some thought. Those, in fact, that thought process is what slows down with age. But your actual reactions or pure reactions or conditioned reflex, where in our case it's the light coming on in the target is the stimulus and the draw is the reaction, you never lose those with age. And I've had doctors tell me I'm wrong, and I can tell you that they are wrong, and I've proven it to them. They were amazed. But what that does is we still have competitors active in our sport that started shooting in the 1950s.
Wow.
And they're still active today.
And they're still active today. And some of these fellas are in their 70s and pushing 80, and they can still react to that light and draw and fire and hit a target as fast as they could when they were young people, in some cases even faster. And so it's kind of remarkable. And because of this, and because it's about hitting the target, is just as important, if not even more important in cowboy fast draw than speed. Speed's important at the end. You got to have it to beat the real champions, but just hitting that target will get you a long way in the match. Because it takes a little bit of experience to learn how to hit in practice, we have our world champion in 2010 was 69 years old when he won it. And he's still shooting. He's still one of our top shooters. He was top gun of the year after that in our sport of all of them. He won state championships, nationals. This guy, he goes by Buzzard Cooper. He's out of Idaho. Great guy. But in 2011, a 14-year-old kid won the overall championship in men's division out of Portland, Oregon. And so it's just, and then last year we had Kodiak win it. Not only did he fire the fastest shot of the match, but he also won the overall. That's rarely done, and he's in his 50s. And so the fastest people we have in the sport right now are still, over 50. Yep. And so it's amazing that this is an ageless sport, and that's what keeps a lot of our older people so interested, because they can be competitive at any age in this game.
When you start competition, are there beginning divisions and intermediate divisions, or does everybody just shoot against each other?
Everybody shoots against each other in the main match. There is no beginner division, because it's remarkable how fast some people progress. We get people that in a matter of a few weeks, they're shooting under half of a second. They're shooting competitive times. Mm-hmm. So we don't get so much into classes, so to speak. Although what we've been doing lately is in our main matches, especially at the World Championship, our computer tracks your fastest shot in our scoring program for each round that you shoot. And so we take your second fastest round and we put what we call the bracket report out, and then we actually run a match for each bracket. So it's people in your skill range as far as time goes that you'll be competing with in these little mini matches. It's just an extra event we have Sunday morning, a 2X match we call it.
Oh, how fun. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yep. Have you seen a uptick? Just because there's a lot of interest and a lot of ammo being bought for regular guns. Have you seen an uptick in interest in this type of sport, just having guns in the news all the time?
No, we haven't seen that kind of an uptick. Mm-hmm. What there is an uptick lately in is Westerns.
Yes.
And country Western music, is as popular as any music. And
definitely.
And so, just 2 months ago, you ever hear of that little group, country band called Montgomery Gentry?
Oh, yes.
Well, we had Troy Gentry and half of his band out shooting at our house about 2 months ago in Fernley.
How fun.
And Troy and his band members joined CFDA. They want to start a club in Nashville.
Oh, my gosh.
And he bought a lane of cowboy fast draw timing equipment, the holster, the whole 9 yards, and he's shooting in his garage in Nashville.
He wants to be competitive.
So great.
Yeah, definitely. We just got done watching the series Deadwood, although it was recorded quite a long time ago. Just finally got interested in it, and it's fascinating that as much as Westerns have changed, it's still kind of that same theme. There's just that excitement about people, shooting against each other. So I'm sure the sport is a really fun thing to watch. I would love to come out there in October and see that. I think it would be great. Not to mention the fact that all the single ladies should probably go out there, I think, because you're going to see some handsome cowboys out there shooting. So.
Well, that's right. But it's the Western lives in the heart of not just Americans. It's all over the world. When people in other countries relate to America, they think of us in a cowboy hat. They really do.
And
Clint
boots and
Eastwood
horses.
and-
And,
yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I was amazed about 5 years ago. Our grandson, Jaden, he's turning 10 tomorrow. He's been shooting now for 2 years in Cowboy Fast Draw in the youth division. We have a youth safety training program for our young. We get them started at 8 years old because we're all about gun safety, and those kids know more about gun safety probably than 90% of the adults that own firearms in this country.
Wow, that's a good thing to teach them.
Because it is, and they've gone
Yeah,
through a
great
program.
skills.
But when my grandson was 4 years old, we had this little video game in the basement. He was playing it, and he gets up there and he goes, "Okay, you sucker!" And he's playing. He's saying all this Western movie stuff.
He's playing the role.
And I don't know that he'd ever even watched a Western movie at that age,
Obviously
but
he had.
but it was ingrained into him.
That's fantastic. Okay, now, you don't say that kind of stuff before you shoot, usually in the competition, right?
No, we actually, when we get on the firing line with our opponent, we shake their hand. It's a ladies and gentlemen sport.
Nice.
Sportsmanship is the key. And, you know, we're all armed, so you got to be nice. An armed society is a polite society.
That is so true.
But no firearms are loaded until the range master says load and make ready. But we shake our hands, we wish our opponents the best, and we mean it. And win, lose, or draw, we shake the opponent's hand and wish them the best. And because, like I said, you know, it's a best 3 out of 5 bout between you and your opponent. And if you lose, you get an X. When you get 4 X's, you're out of the match.
It's nice to see sports like that. You know, golf is a game like that where you see people kind of, you know, being pretty polite to each other while they're playing around and before and after. And it's nice to see that because many sports these days you have been sort of
Not that way.
degrading into a state of you know, kind of all out war, which is unpleasant.
I know. I went to a high school baseball game, you know, and it's like all the parents are yelling at the coach.
Yes.
Then the coach is yelling at the kids. Everybody's yelling at the umpire. I mean, I don't quite get this, but in Cowboy Fast Draw, I mean, you're likely, if a shooter thinks they didn't hit the target right or something, you'll see them raise their own hand and question the shot and ask someone to go down range and look at it. So it's a ladies and gentlemen's game.
I noticed in the fall edition of the Gunslingers Gazette, Kodiak is actually on, you know, is featured in a photograph. That looks to me like they're dressed in Western garb. Is there? You have names? Do people also get kind of dressed for the part? Kind of the old Western gunslinger appearance.
Oh yeah, everybody gets decked out in period clothing. That's what really the women love this thing because they are out there getting all decked out and then our evening events they come in evening gowns. I mean, this looks like dressed as saloon girls.
Yeah, have to go.
And so
I love Erica's pictures. She always has the cutest pictures of her when she's all dressed up in her period garb. I think it is adorable. She's such a cutie anyway, but it's really, really cute to see. I think it's fun. It looks like you guys have a ball every time you go out and do anything.
It's addicting. You get addicted to the people and everybody. They save up their money on the off season and they travel and make as many matches as they can. And yeah, everybody wants to shoot as well as they can. You know, it's a competitive game. We shoot for prize money. You know, there's actually at the World Championship about $50,000 in cash and merchandise given away.
That is great.
There's prize money involved here, but it's the people just love the people, and they don't. And here's the funny thing: you don't even actually know people by their real name. Okay, I mean it's unbelievable. You will see people several times a year. You'll have dinner with them. You refer to them by their alias. Because
that's fun.
That's who they really want to be.
Wow.
I think that is so cute. It sounds like you guys have a ball. I know we've heard about these events for years, and because we've always talked to Dinah and Erica about all the events that you guys travel with together. You're a wonderful family. I really think it's so admirable that you guys travel together and go do all these fun things, even though your kids are grown. You go and travel together and just, you know, really keeps you close. It's a nice thing to do together.
Well, it is. And, you know, shooting sports in general are like that, whether it's trap shooting, any kind of shooting that is a family-orientated sport. It really, I guess, the family that shoots together stays together. and at this day of time, there's people just bad-mouthing anything to do with guns, and it's just not really the way it should be.
This is true.
Everybody, we're sitting here with Cal Irich, a.k.a. Quick Cal, the winningest fast draw. We didn't even get a chance, Cal, to talk about the other shooting sports that you've had great success with. But if you have any interest in fast draw, whether it's just the dressing up and having a great time in period clothing, or being competitive, it sounds like you can become competitive in a week.
And going to the events, which sounds like a lot of fun.
Give Cal Eilerich and his family a call at 775-575-1802 or find him on the web, cowboyfastdraw.com. Cal, it's been an awful pleasure. Will you come back and talk with us again?
Oh, absolutely. It's been a pleasure to be here.
Oh, fantastic.
Great having you. Thank you so much.
Vibrant Live Radio Show, again, hosting just another local luminary, Cal Eilerich. Come on back in 3, and we'll talk a little bit about dentistry, the office, and kind of insurance questions.
Announcing Scampi, Reno's newest pasta house and bar. It creates your business casual lunch and fine dinner dining. For lunch and dinner, an amazing selection of Scampi dishes, along with homemade ravioli, gnocchis, and lasagnas are freshly prepared for you on the premises. Indulge yourself with classic Scampi with white wine lemon butter sauce, Scampi Diablo meat with spicy marinara sauce, or Scampi with marinated artichoke hearts. Enjoy homemade desserts like tiramisu, creme brulee, and cannoli are created for you on the site as well. To fit with your New Year's fitness resolution, don't forget to try On the Light Side, their large array of fresh and grilled salads and healthy sandwiches. Scampi is centrally located on the corner of Liberty and South Virginia at 425 South Virginia Street, across from the Federal Building in the heart of Reno's Midtown District. You can park for free in the garage or in the adjacent parking lot. For reservations, call 775-284-0660.
Press 1 for accounts, 2 for balance information, 3 for give your house back to us department, 4 for the we lost your modification application department, 5 for the stay on hold forever department.
Hello, this is Ivana for Close-A-Lot. Can I help you? Hello?
Unbelievable! Don't let the bank win. Call 359-1936 today. Hello, I'm attorney Carlin Kidder of the Kidder Law Group, a debtor's rights law firm. Our law firm offers solutions to people who find themselves behind on bills, are hopelessly underwater on their house, and who want to make their financial picture bright again. We offer free consultations. Give us a call and schedule an appointment so that we can come up with a solution that fits you. Once again, that's 359-1936 or visit our website, KIDDERlawgroup.com.
This is Chandra from Bloom Bake Shop and Floral, and I've been baking since I could reach the kitchen counter. I bake everything from cookies and birthday cakes for your celebrations to wedding cakes and flowers for the most special day of your life. I was raised here in Reno, and my reputation depends on providing the best desserts you've ever tasted. Call me at 775-287-8905 or see us on the web at bloomreno.com. Let Bloom Bake Shop make your day a little sweeter.
If you've been diagnosed with sleep apnea, but you're not wearing your CPAP, please listen carefully. Every day you are putting your life at risk by ignoring this life-threatening disease. Right now, you could be putting others at risk as well. Who's in your car with you right now? Drowsy drivers are just as dangerous as drunk drivers. Don't wait. Call the TMJ Therapy and Sleep Center today at 825-7200. That's 825-7200. Or see us on the web at tmjreno.com.
Welcome back to Vibrant Life Radio, and we're here with both Dr. Brian Allman and myself, Julian Allman, and now we're going to be talking with Chandra, who is our very amazing office manager at our office. And the reason we decided to have you come in here is that I had a recent experience. I went to a new doctor's office, and I had an experience that I thought, I got to make sure this is not something that we're experiencing at our office. And that was that I walked in and had no idea what was going to be happening during my visit there. I had no idea how much I was going to pay while I was there. And it was kind of a blind experience. And it was sort of daunting. This is, these were women's issues that I went into this office, to address. And I really kind of felt like you should know kind of what you're headed for when you walk into an office. It would make it a lot less nerve-wracking to basically kind of know what you're headed for. So I went back to our office and decided I'm going to ask Chandra exactly what we do on the phone. How do we introduce ourselves to people? What do we tell them about our office? And do we thoroughly explain what's going to happen before they come in? Do they know how much money they're going to be expected to pay and things like that? So, Chandra, I'd like you to just kind of walk through what we do at both the TMJ Therapy and Sleep Center and Vibrant Family Smiles.
Well, I think the main focus at our office and all different facets of the office is just to make sure that the experience is above and beyond, and that the patients, when they're in the office, they they feel well taken care of, they feel well informed, and they definitely can know what to anticipate. When you call the office, it's a at least 15-20 minute phone call, where we find out exactly why you're coming and what's important to you, and explain to you what's going to happen at your first visit, and make sure that you're very well aware, and you don't walk into the office like you did at that other office. You're very well aware of what we're going to be doing and why it's important to you. Patient education, I think, is a huge aspect that everyone in the office, Dr. Allman and all of the staff, we all focus so much on patient education just to make sure that there are no dark spots. There isn't anything that
a level
you
of
won't
comfort
know.
and trust. Because really, I mean, when you walk into a doctor's office for the first time, what you're looking for is someone that you can find a rapport with and find somebody that you think you're going to trust. That's the most important thing about it. So tell us a little bit about you have that conversation on the phone. They know what they're coming in for, and they know how much they're going to need to bring with them, if they, what the out-of-pocket cost is. What do they go through at our office? What exactly do they do at their first visit, whether it's for TMJ, whether it's a dental visit, or whether it's a sleep visit?
Well, the TMJ and sleep visits are usually long 2-hour consultations, and we spend a lot of time. They spend the first hour or so with the assistants going through a whole series of diagnostics, and we take really high-tech x-rays, and we take a lot of time getting the initial diagnostics, and then usually they spend anywhere from a half an hour to an hour with Dr. Allman, and I think that's really important because so often these days people will go to an office and spend 5, 10, 15 minutes with the doctor and really feel like they were rushed through the process and like they didn't get the attention or the time that they needed in that office. And I think at our office we make sure that it's very important that he spends the adequate amount of time with them to make sure that they feel like that and they feel like they have had a chance to ask all the questions they need, whether it's DMJ, sleep, dental, everything we're doing. He makes sure that he spends plenty of time with them and addresses any concerns that they had before they leave the office.
Sure. And what I think is interesting about makes it easy for you at least is that you're not you don't usually have to tell somebody that he's a guy they can trust. I mean, he's pretty well known, and it isn't as though you're trying to let people know that he's got some experience. He's
No.
basically the foremost expert in the field of sleep and in TMJ. Who's been a dentist in Reno for 26 years, so that does make your job.
It's not a hard sell, that's for sure.
Yeah, Eddie, you've had an experience just recently in our office.
I'm so glad you allowed me to actually stand up to our microphone here and make a comment during Vibrant Life, because I'll tell you something. I have lived now almost 4.5 decades in northern Nevada in our community here in Reno Sparks, and Chandra, thanks to her, and also thanks to Brian, Dr. Allman, I've got to share with you, I have never, and I don't do personal endorsements, I have never had a more professional experience in my life than when I called over, spoke with Chandra, talked to her, had the appointment, and then came in and met with Brian, Dr. Allman. And I'll share with everybody listening on all radio stations right now, nothing but pure professionalism when it comes to your clinic over there.
Thank you, Eddie.
Thank you.
That is a really, really nice thing, and especially Chandra, we all think the world of her and think that she does a fantastic job, but it's really great because we do hear a lot of patients come in and tell us how fantastic she is as well, in addition to telling us how great Dr. Allman is.
Well, if I could just mention something, I'm going to need a bigger headset here, Eddie, but no. The fact is that I am surrounded by an amazing group of people. They're very self-motivated, very professional, and in Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, I read that at 16 years old. And he wrote, if you want to be successful, surround yourself with successful people. And really, and I say this every day, that the weak link in our office really is probably me. And,
no, not true.
Well, I like to talk to my patients. I enjoy what I do. I love what I do. And so, sometimes I'll screw the schedule up just because I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And
yeah, we usually have to get him out of the room instead of, usually some doctors are running from room to room and we're pulling him out of the room.
But it's a privilege to work with the people I do. And I also see my profession. I want to be a dentist since I was 8 years old. And I really see my profession as more privilege.
Right.
It's a privilege that I get to try to help people and touch people in that way.
Well, like I said, that really truly came from the heart, because one thing, I've been to a lot of doctor's offices, a lot of dentist office over my 6.5 decades on this earth, and I've got to share with you, I did not feel like I was at Baskin-Robbins with yours. They didn't yell a number, and the next thing I knew, I was getting my flavor and sitting in the seat. No, I felt like a person from the moment I made my first phone call. Never had met Chandra before in my entire life, and she was so professional and made me feel so comfortable, because number one, I hate dentists, okay, and who doesn't, right? But no, truthfully, I honestly, truthfully have never been treated in a more professional manner than when I called over, spoke with Chandra, and then sat in that chair and met with Dr. Allman for the very first time. And for that, I want to compliment your offices.
Oh, thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much,
You are so sweet to come out and say that. Really, that is just such a nice thing for you to do. And I know for Chandra, you've had many experiences at the office, and part of the reason why we love what we do and why we really feel like we're privileged to work there is that sometimes you have experiences with the patients. I know we just recently had a TMJ patient that touched your heart in a way I haven't seen Chandra break down quite like that. Tell us a little bit about that patient that was just recently in.
Well, I think, with all the patients that we treat, what we do in the office is so powerful in changing people's lives with TMJ and with sleep, with sleep apnea appliances and with everything we do. Just recently, the patient you're talking about, he was a TMJ patient who had been through a long, long, long road of very difficult things with his jaw and very difficult things with his teeth and headaches, and he had been basically resigned to drinking Ensure and living off of soft foods and Ensure, and he came into the office and we did his TMJ treatment and worked on his teeth a little bit too, and he told us that he had made a vision board at home with a Big Mac on it, and that his goal once he was done with his treatment was just to eat a hamburger. All he wanted to do was go to McDonald's, and once he was through his treatment, he got his final, everything was all completed, and he sent us a picture that night, and he said the first, and it was a hamburger with a big old huge bite out of it, and we saw that email, and I literally just broke down. I just cried and thought how amazing that we did that for him, and that he was able to just eat his hamburger, and it changed his life, and it just touched me. It was just such an amazing thing, and that makes it worth going to work every day, just to see people like that and to treat people and I guess get people eating hamburgers again. It just was so powerful.
Definitely, or an apple or anything else that they couldn't chew before. And I know we've had young mothers. We've had a couple of young mothers that really touched your heart because they couldn't get on the floor and play with their kids. They were in chronic pain constantly. Really couldn't live life. And after coming to the TMJ Therapy and Sleep Center, they are able to actually live their life again, go out and just enjoy a vibrant life, which is really cool. But I'm going to ask you a rather difficult question, which is, most people choose their doctors based upon the fact that they are, they're on my list. I go to this dentist because he's on my list, which to me is a pretty sad state of affairs. When you get somebody that calls you and says, do you take my insurance? I know that's a tough question. So explain our insurance issues and our insurance policy and why we don't contract with insurance companies.
Well, our office is pretty unique in the fact that we treat dental and medical patients, and we bill dental and medical insurances. And because of that reason, it gets a little bit complicated as far as what we, how we have to bill things. And so we are, as an office, not contracted with medical or dental insurance companies, but that by no means does that mean that we can't take your insurance or we won't bill your insurance. All it means is that there's just a little bit of a different process as far as the way that they pay with medical insurance and what they pay with dental insurance. Usually it's a very small amount, and we can bill any insurance. We're basically probably one of the more versatile offices in the way that we bill, because we can bill medical insurance and dental insurance, and because of how long we've been doing this and because of the expertise that we found in this area, we're really able to get a great reimbursement regardless of what the insurance company is or what the services that we're performing. So
Great. You are a champion, I must say. You are a phenomenal advocate for our patients. You really are. And they bring you things all the time because of all the hard work you do, which is pretty cool. But if you can briefly say what that process is, because I know we just have a few more seconds here. But
for the medical insurance? With medical insurance, the way we work with the billing is that we when the patient comes in, I pre-certify everything and make sure that the homework's done prior to, so that you know exactly what the reimbursement you're going to be getting, and we can be all on the exact same page with insurance. And then when we bill the insurance, they actually reimburse the patient directly instead of us. So it takes us out as the middleman and give the patient the reimbursement. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'd like to thank you for coming on and explaining that. I know it's important to patients, and what's really important is that you find a doctor that works well with you, somebody that you can trust, and don't let your insurance choose that for you. Thanks so much for being with us today. It's been a lot of fun, and we'd like to also say goodbye to Brian, and we'll see y'all next week. Thanks for being here with Vibrant Life Radio.